Hey, what up, guys? This is your informal guy Joshua from Hipronary School. In today's video, we're gonna react to an old video that we got in our channel about irate customers. That's the reason why I brought you here, because we're gonna react to this video and we're gonna give some tips about it.
Indeed, a lot of people have been asking us for, let's say, videos about irate customers, tips, techniques, and a lot of people have been writing down comments where they are so concerned about irate customers because perhaps they don't know what to do or they don't know how to keep up a conversation with an angry customer. They don't know how to reply. They don't know how to, sometimes you get overwhelmed. We gotta be honest. If you have somebody over the phone or on the other line and that person starts yelling at you and treating you so bad, you get overwhelmed. But here is our perspective, and that's the reason why we're gonna react to this video, because if you have enough vocabulary, you can be able to confront that customer without being disrespectful. You have to avoid being disrespectful, but at the same time, you can confront that customer, and if the customer knows or finds out that you have a strong vocabulary or a very good command of the language, the customer will start slowing down. And when I say slow down, I mean that they vent the anger. And they know that you are capable of explaining the point effortlessly. And sometimes the reason why customers get so mad, irate, or angry, whatever you want to call it, is because a lot of agents are totally inefficient or incapable of keeping up with the conversation. They get overwhelmed. Do you agree with me?
Totally side you, bro. But most importantly, and this is the biggest advice ever, you have to remain calm and don't take it personally, because the customer, you have to understand something. When a customer calls in, it's because they have an issue, they have a problem, and they want you to resolve that issue right immediately, of course. But if you hamper the call by stuttering or being negative, the customer will get angrier and angrier. So this will hamper your call in your customer service,
and that leads to a very negative call.
So you have to remain calm, and of course you don't have to take it personally. Okay, I'm gonna play the video and we're gonna see it.
Let's see what we got. You ready, guys? Let's go.
I'm gonna pause the video because, guys, this weather-beaten face is because I was burned in midnight oil for a couple of weeks, so that's the reason why I have that long face. Okay.
Absolutely. I am dying your worst nightmare. I am calling extension 3575 over and over and over and.
Can you pause the video just 1 second? Now, guys, if you notice from the very get-go or the very beginning, the tone of his voice, the customer's voice, was totally unusual. When I say unusual, is because the customer was already angry. Therefore, you gotta be ready for that type of situation. If you pick up the phone or if you pick up the call and if you hear or identify that the customer is angry, you gotta be very smart, because depending on what you say, depending on the answer you give them, they blow up like 10 times more than they were. So you gotta be extremely careful, and on top of that, you also have to demonstrate to the customer, number one, that you master the product or whatever account you are working for. You have to be able to give them a good answer, because like Joshua said a few seconds ago, customers normally call in because they have a problem, all right? You are supposed, or we are supposed as agents, to help them, to give them a solution, to sort out any type of issue that they are facing. But what if you're unable to give them a solution? What if you just make that problem greater? What if you just deteriorate that situation so they just get even more angry and you get escalated and they start yelling at you even more? Because if you notice, this video is like overwhelming. I'm not saying that because I believe it or I don't know, like I just think it is overwhelming. No, it is overwhelming. If you if you watch that video very carefully, you notice that customer is yelling at Joshua from the very beginning. You gotta be extremely careful.
In fact, if you take a quick glance to my face, you will feel my pain.
Absolutely. I mean, Joshua was able to do his best. He was trying to look for a solution. He was trying to be courteous. He was trying to be nice and empathetic and all that. You can notice that. However,
the customer keeps hollering.
The customer keeps being so discourteous. A bad customer, somebody who needs help but doesn't let you talk.
Yeah, you are allowed to feel uncomfortable. At this specific time, I was about to say something like, "Bro, calm down." And
you were about to hang up the call.
get the monkey off your back. That's I was about to say. But you have to remain calm because the customer is facing a lot of issues, and the first agent wasn't able to help him. So that's the reason why he's so mad. It's not because of you. It's not because it's something personal.
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes you're not even to blame, but you just have to like take the ball.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get the ball rolling.
There. She wants to talk to me. She's been dealing with my situation for 2 days now. And I've been on the phone for 3 hours trying to reach her. And every time I call my contact number, I get your department. And now you know what the fuck I'm talking about. What kind of a goddamn situation is this?
I just want to say something here before we move on. A lot of people have been asking us whether it's necessary to master a lot of informal vocabulary or not. A lot of people have been saying, hey, it's not necessary to know certain words because nobody uses them, or it's not necessary to know them at a call center. Guys, if you keep believing that you don't have to know that vocabulary, you're so wrong, like ridiculously wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. If you notice, or if you pay close attention to that video, the customer was using colorful vocabulary. And sometimes, if not all the times, when you receive those customers, they use a lot of slang, a lot of informal expressions, a lot of euphemism. And if you don't know that vocabulary, you will be unable to understand what the customer is saying. We have to know beforehand that this call is a very negative call. How can you turn that call into a positive call? You will give me that answer in the comment section, all right? So let's move on.
Why? Don't have two people that have the phone number put me on hold and get the fucking game back. I would ask you why.
Okay, the reason why I need your phone number is that I can't pull up your account and see any notes in the system.
What good the notes are going to do?
You know,
Michelle.
he wouldn't let you talk.
No.
Right, that is another point. Sometimes you ask the customer for info. Let's say you need the customer's info to look up something on, let's say, on your system, database, whatever, and the customer doesn't cooperate. They keep yelling at you, they keep like venting the anger, and they don't give you the info. You gotta be extremely smart, careful in that type of case, right?
Totally. And at this point, I realized about it. So, I was aware that this call was going to take a specific path. So I let myself flow with the path.
Right. And what would you say to those who are pretty scared when it comes to taking these calls? Maybe they have a very insufficient command of the language, they don't know a lot of slang, they get overwhelmed when they hear somebody who is mad on the other side of the phone. What would you say to those people that are extremely scared and perhaps they have never made it into a call center and they don't know what to do, or they have been watching tons of videos about irate customers but they have never had this experience? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I'm gonna repeat myself. I never take it personally. You have to have some empathy. Remember, bear in mind that this customer is calling you because they have a lot of issues. So you have to put yourself in order of people choose, in order to understand them. Yeah, they are mad at your company services. They are mad at the Let's agent. They are mad at you perhaps, but that's totally okay. So don't let this to take you in a hard position, because at the end of the day, you are only a person who is trying to help other people. So do your best. Do your best. Remain calm. Remember, this is not something personal. And probably, and this is something that I've heard a lot in the call center industry, no, because people are racist. No, this is nothing about being racist. If people get mad at you because you don't have a proper command of the language, it's because that specific fact is hampering the conversation, and as a result, is hampering the problem from being resolved.
Indeed, the customers feel that you are useless. And what if you have somebody on the line pretending to help you, but at the same time you feel that they are useless? Let's suppose that I'm a customer and you're an agent. Let's say I'm facing a very, very horrible issue. Let's say I'm at the store, I need to pay something, my credit card got declined, so I call you because facing that issue, probably I'm mad, I don't know, I'm just going through a stressful situation. So I have you on the line, you're the agent, and you don't want to help me, or you don't understand what I'm saying, you don't know what I'm talking about. And perhaps your command of the language is insufficient.
And you keep transferring me to other people.
Right.
So
I immediately, as a customer, would feel that you are useless. And I'm not being racist, I'm not being a bad person, I'm not being like disrespectful. Sometimes I might be disrespectful as a customer, but is there a reason for me to feel like that? Of course there is. Why? Because the agent is not providing me the solution that he's supposed to. He's useless. And in this case, Joshua did his best, and he demonstrated that he had a very good command of the language. Nonetheless, the customer wouldn't let you talk. There is another point.
Yeah, that's the reason what I told you before, that I understood that this customer won't let me talk, so I let myself flow with the call. No, I was there in order to hear the customer, so he was able to vent his anger at me.
Right.
Okay, look at that expression.
I don't have one, but I'm going to go try to acquire one.
Look at.
There's no Michelle, because you people are going to get sued, and not to mention, I might go.
That I might go ballistic and come over with the machine gun.
So do you know what that means? Maybe, and this is what I'm gonna say to you guys. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm right, but a lot of people believe that I'm right, and I prove myself right. You have to know a lot of vocabulary if you want to work in a call center. Of course, if you want to be a mediocre agent, then just don't study or don't learn more English. But if you want to be an efficient call center agent, you have to master as much vocabulary as possible. Why? Here is the reason why. If a customer says over the phone, I might go ballistic and come over with a machine gun. What do you think that means? Tell me in the comment section, right?
And don't take this the wrong way. We're not telling you.
We are not roasting anybody. We're
No.
not judging you or
No.
criticizing you, let alone putting you down. We're just giving you the tips, the techniques for you to do well in the call center industry. Perhaps you might be like, no, but hey, my teacher, my professor, my tutor, whoever taught you English told me, no, you just have to learn these specific expressions and these sentences, and you can just talk to anybody over the phone if you want to work in a call center. That is a lie. That is a total lie. Why? Perhaps you can communicate, of course. You can like just say a few basic expressions and yeah, you can get by. I'm not saying that you won't be able to do it. What I'm saying is that when you go through these specific situations, you will be totally ready to have a smooth conversation, even when customers use a very informal expression or a very unknown idiom to the average call center agents.
Look, we have a lot of native speaker friends. We work with a lot of native speakers, and these people sometimes out of I don't know, because they have some empathy, they won't tell you advanced word or slang idiom, because this is a gesture out of respect for you, because they tend to think that people who are not native and have a lot of limitations when it comes to speaking English. So
That is a perception.
that is a perception, but that is not. In most cases, people won't have empathy for you because they are trying to resolve an issue and they want you to resolve that issue. So that's the reason why a lot of customers will use a lot of expressions, slangs, idioms, and that's the reason why so many people always say that no, because I learned this specific standard English and that's all. That's the only that I need in order to survive. Sometimes because you happen to have some good friends or people who are surround you, but they will use just a standard vocabulary.
But it's not about survival.
It's
It's
not
about
about-
being efficient. It's about being capable of providing good customer service and being able to talk with the customers without any issues, right? So let's move on.
So ballistic come over there with machine guns. I don't have one, but I'm going to go try to acquire one. You don't do this to somebody. You don't do this to somebody. You didn't show up for your appointment yesterday. You didn't show up for your appointment today. You didn't, and now you won't talk to me? That is fucked up. That is outrageous. You're contracted to help me. You don't have to. You don't have to. What the fuck is going on? Who is this Michelle and why is she telling me to call her knowing that I can't reach her? And why does nobody there know who she is? This is all fucked up.
Sir, I bet you how you're feeling. I really want to help, but in order to do so,
I'm just watching from the phone.
In this case, Joshua is being empathetic. He's trying to build rapport with the customer, but the customer wouldn't cooperate.
But that little flake on the phone, he supposedly know who she is.
sir, I could resolve this issue once and for all, but to do so, I'm going to need your
You're not supposed to be no goddamn fucking number anymore.
Sir, I'm really trying my best here, and I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, but you haven't told me your issue so far. Perhaps you can help me here to understand your issue by telling me your phone number so like this.
This is extremely important, and Joshua was so right. The customer never explained the whole issue. He was just whining about Michelle, whining about the customer service. He had gotten routed several times, and he was looking for help, but he never explained the problem. Here's when Joshua tries to understand what the customer needs and what problem is he going through, and let's see what's gonna happen.
Before he kills me, is matter of fact, do I get your verbal pad or counter?
No, you may not. I will pick that up with Michelle.
he was so reluctant to give me information.
Right. He was
so
refusing
reluctant,
to provide that info. And in that case, the call gets harder. If the customer is reluctant to provide info, the call is like getting harder and harder and harder. You have to be very, very smart or very conscious of what's going on to be able to turn that call into a positive call or to overturn that call.
3575, and if you're going to transfer me there and then have to put me back into the main system.
Listening skills. Listening skills. He said 3575, but he said it pretty fast. If your listening skills are not good enough, I bet you that you would not been able to understand those numbers, 3575. And sometimes, if not all the times, when customers are mad, they provide information or any piece of information pretty fast. Let's say names, let's say addresses, let's say numbers, like ID numbers, social security numbers, anything, and they provide that info so fast. And what happens if your listening skills are whack or are not good enough? I bet that you will not be able to pick out that. What do you think?
I do. You will need a lot of tools in order to pick up calls. This is the reason why so many people, after the first couple of weeks, they have to decamp the office because they realize that working in a call center is not what they really thought it would be. Because you will need a lot of vocabulary, slang idioms, listening skills. So, yeah, I totally sign you.
They gotta bolt down the road on their way home because they are overwhelmed.
Or the tech department, that is fucked up.
Okay, sir, if I transfer you to that station, would that be okay?
No, that would not be okay. You don't think I'm capable of dialing that extension over and over again? She left me a fucking voicemail that said call that extension. If you don't reach me, dial 5050 and one of the representatives will get you to me. But the representatives have no fucking clue. What the fuck is going on?
Sir, would you mind tell me a little about your issue so I can try to help you? I can transfer you to that station. Which would you prefer?
You can't fucking tell that you can't help me, and you can't fucking tell that transferring me in doesn't do any good. If you don't put me on the phone with somebody who can fucking help me, God damn it, no! No! No!
Sir, would you feel better?
I have just one simple question. What level of angriness is this? Like, if you were to rate it from 1 to 10, what rate would you give it?
10, of course.
10, right?
Yeah. He was very
Very angry. Specifically at this stage of the call, very, very extremely angry, right?
Rather on me, that's okay, but only let me know what is this issue all about so I can get a better understanding of the situation. Or if it makes you feel better, I can put you through my supervisor and he will get this issue
I'm not
resolved.
What were you? I have just one question, and perhaps a lot of people on the other side of the screen are wondering why is it that Joshua tried to escalate himself? Because you said, if you want, I can transfer you or put you through to my supervisor. Why do you say that? Or why is it important to mention that sometimes?
Yeah, it is really important because at this certain point, I realized that the customer won't let me help him. So it doesn't really matter. No matter how things you slice it, this is still belonging. So it doesn't really matter what good you are. If you have all the willing to help this customer, he won't let that happen. Because the only reason or the only thing that this customer wanted to do at this specific time was to holler at you. Because he was really angry and he wanted to vent this anger at somebody. So I was wasting my time here.
Totally. It was a waste of time.
Yeah, it was a waste of time. So that's the reason why I try to escalate myself. Because I want to delegate this call to my supervisor, and he's the person who wants to receive.
Yeah, and in that specific stage, anything you would have said would have been considered like malarkey, right? Because it was totally impossible for you to provide any type of help.
Our company at this moment was lacking of full credibility for this customer.
And unfortunately, we received a pretty bad review from that customer.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, let's see what else we have.
When I called the extension, she told me to, and I always get put into the tech department, and the tech department doesn't know anything about it. How do you treat a customer that way? How many supervisors do you want to speak to that can't help it?
I'm gonna stop this video right here in order to emphasize something really important. And this is the reason why I was telling you before that how important is to have some empathy, because sometimes when a coworker receives a call and perhaps she or he wasn't able to understand the customer, and this is a bad practice, they immediately transfer the call to a different department because they weren't able to understand the customer. As a result, I got fucked up. So that's the reason Emmanuel mentioned before this, you have to have some listening skills.
Right.
Because you will keep transferring calls every time. Remember Joshua character? Every time he receives a call and he screws that call, he always says, no, because there is bad signal. They all reliable.
All reliable. That is one of the worst excuses you could ever make.
Exactly.
Because if you're incapable of comprehending, that's because your listening skills are whack. You gotta work on that. Please work on that.
Okay, let's continue.
I've been on the phone. I've been on the phone since 6 o'clock my time. That's 3.5 hours.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, you're not. You were sorry. You fucking do something. I've been on the phone. He's the only fucking
Did you take this personal?
No, I didn't take it personal.
And why is it that some people take it personal? Like, aren't they able to deal with these situations, or?
Well,
What can you do
that's
to
really
avoid that?
difficult to pin down. But in my humble opinion, there are people who are not cut out for this.
Right.
Because, and this is the reason why I don't trust or I don't believe in customer service trainings. Why do you have to pay for a customer service training? Yeah, I know, and please don't get me wrong. If you're here or if you're watching customer service training in other language, it's because you will need the vocabulary to give a proper good customer service. But you are not learning customer service. Customer service is simple. You have to treat people like you are treating yourself.
You gotta be nice all the
You
time.
have to be nice. That's it.
You don't want to treat somebody the way like you wouldn't somebody else would treat you, right? Like you just have to be nice all the time. Remember the last interview like we uploaded when you asked me about the here is the question you asked me: how can you relate customer service to your personal life? Remember what I said? What I said was you have to be nice all the time. That's how you wrap it up. Gotta be nice all the time.
Yeah.
Regardless of the call, regardless of the situation, or regardless of the customer. All customers are different, right? And all calls are different. But you gotta be nice all the time.
Of course, it's nice when people yell at you, but you have to understand that these people is facing or they are in a hard position at a specific time. So, yeah, we don't have to allow people to disrespect us or holler at us, but sometimes you have to understand these customers. He wasn't telling me bad things or using profanities or the F words.
Let's be clear, and I want to break down a little bit of some aspects of this call. Perhaps you are not understanding some expressions or how this customer use them. he was not using those expressions to treat you bad. He was not throwing those expressions at you. He was using colorful vocabulary referring to the previous agent, referring to the customer service, but he never said something bad about you. Like he never used profanity, or he never used colorful vocabulary against you as an agent. That's something that you have to bear in mind all the time. Now, if the customer starts using vocabulary, like very strong vocabulary against you as an agent, that is different. In some cases, depending on the department, depending on the account, you are able to hang up the call after 3 times.
Yeah.
If the customer treats you bad. But I'm not talking just like you're a bad agent. No. I'm not saying that type of vocabulary. I'm just saying in some cases when they use very, very strong.
Let me cite an example.
Informal vocabulary.
Let me cite an examples. They will tell you, "You fucking beaner." Okay, that's so disrespectful.
Extremely disrespectful.
That's extremely disrespectful. So you are allowed to hang up the call immediately.
After 3 times, sometimes after 2 times, or depending on the account, the first time, it depends on the account, right? You can hang up the call immediately. However, you have to let the customer know why you are going to hang up the call. You could say something like, "Hey sir," or "Mr. Brown," whoever you have on the phone. If you continue to use that vocabulary, I'm gonna have to hang up the call. And if he continues doing that, you can do it. You are authorized to do that. There are exceptions though, right?
Yeah. Let's continue.
And sir, I'm going to transfer you to my supervisor. He will be able to get this issue straightened out.
Done that already, and they say they can't help me. It's fucked up. Why can't I reach the 50-50 department?
Well, I'm not pretty sure how come the system isn't working. I could try to reach this station from here to transfer you.
If you transfer me there, I'm gonna get somebody to pick up in your department.
Okay, sir, then they can transfer you to my supervisor.
I am not gonna dwell in your fucking private joke twilight zone any longer.
I'm not gonna dwell.
Transfer me to Michelle, or you're gonna find out why customers can't get through to that department.
Okay, let me look into that.
And then I'm gonna go be at home.
Okay.
So you go be at home and you'll come back in 5 minutes. I won't be here when you come back, because I can't wait that long.
I totally understand your situation, but in order to look into that, I'm going to have to put...
I know some
Oh.
people don't know.
Unexpected ad.
So if you need it, okay, you just hear me.
Indeed, sir, but there's no way I can transfer you without putting you on hold.
I don't want to be transferred. If you not hear me, transferring me is going to put me to another decade.
Sir, and why don't you let me try to reach the 3575 number?
But she doesn't answer the phone. She told me in a voicemail that wasn't 20 minutes ago. She called 50-50 and she doesn't pick up. And then so every minute they answer will be able to transfer me. But the last minutes they answer, I'm in the wrong goddamn department and they don't know anything.
Okay, I will try to do my best, and it's okay if you want to...
We gotta acknowledge something. And in some parts of the conversation, this customer was almost stuttering a little bit, stammering, right? And that's why you have to get used to that. Sometimes customers stutter over the phone, and if your listening skills are not good enough, you fail to understand big time.
I'm getting off your chest. Sir, if you allow me to put you on hold for a second, I will be able to look at your account and try to find out the root of the problem.
I want to know why you keep putting on hold, and I so strongly don't want you to do that. I want to know why you're putting on hold.
Okay, in our call centers or company, we have certain rules, and we have to abide by these rules. In this scenario, we have a policy, and I have to abide by this policy. The customer is telling me, why do you want me to put me on hold? And that is part of the process of this call. So sometimes you have to explain the customer why you have to do certain things, and customers won't understand these concepts or these policies, and but that is something that we have to do, right?
I just have one question.
Mhm.
Were you able to sleep that night?
No, no. No, it was really difficult. It was a nightmare.
A total nightmare, right?
A total nightmare.
You have to put the phone on hold in order to look at your computer? I highly doubt that. That would be a weird working environment. So why do you need to put me on hold?
I need to pull up your account, and to do so, I have to put you
I
on.
can't take a look at my account with me on the phone.
Unfortunately, that's how the system works. It was designed that way.
Well, that's not sufficient.
How about this? Do let me put you on hold for a sec, and I will be back in a jiffy with a final solution.
You can't put me on hold. I spent large chunks of the last 3 hours on hold. Can you not tell that this is an outrage? Can you not tell I have no patience left? Can you not tell that I'm getting fucked over by either your phone system or the people that are putting me into it? Can you not tell that? And you're insisting on putting me on hold or getting a supervisor that's going to tell me the same thing you are?
Sir, I'm trying to do all I can within my reach to help you out, but I can't do anything about contacting Michelle or figuring out what's going on unless I put you on.
Putting me on hold is suspicious. I'm not going to hang up with you and try it on my own to call back and get the 50-50 department. And if I get another text agent, they're going to get the same thing you did. So, and you're, by the way, you're at least the second, if not the third tech agent that has gone through this with me. And I can't think much more of it. There's a person named Michelle that's hiding behind whatever, and she's supposed to be working with
The thing here is that Mitchell got roasted.
Michelle reminds me of a coworker or coworkers that we have, that every time when the CEO says, okay, this afternoon we're going to receive a couple of calls from the Caribbean, and all people is doing this.
They sneak under the table or sneak under the desk, right? They hide like little mice into their holes, right?
Yeah.
A lot of excuses all the time. That is the old reliable.
The unreliable, of course. The unreliable is, Joshua, could you please pick up the call from the Korean because I have a stomach ache, so I need to go to the restroom.
Dinner time, or I have to have coffee, or have to go to the restroom.
or they say no, because they have a very different accent, and
I don't know what they say.
So.
Well, you're gonna fucking go home soon, and I dangling along for 3 hours in your fucking phone system because nobody knows anybody at that company. Except for some random guy named Joe that was nice enough to find Mitch, who was nice enough to find Michelle. And now I can't even get Mitch on the fucking line, and I can't get Joe, and you're telling me you have to go get another supervisor who's gonna have to take 20 minutes to figure it out. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here waiting for 3 hours and 45 minutes. I don't fucking think so.
In a couple of videos we uploaded in our channel, we received some criticism from people who were saying, Joshua, you were mincing the words, you were mispronouncing certain words. No. We decided to upload that video in that way in order for you to learn how to recognize certain words when they are mispronounced. If you pay close attention, this customer, he's not pronouncing because he's really angry.
Right.
So he's not talking in a very good way.
He's missing a lot of words.
He's missing a lot of words.
And like I said, he was stammering a lot of words. And if you don't pay close attention, sometimes you may miss the point, or sometimes you may misunderstand or fail to understand what the customer is saying. Because he's really mad. He's unable to pronounce words in a natural way. He's speeding up the sentences. Therefore, that's in some cases a little bit hard to comprehend, right?
Mhm.
Okay, sir, sure. Definitely welcome to call back.
Video has become part of your everyday processes. We are using video links on our website.
Ricky, put your call. It's completely.
I called you back. What's your name? I need to know your name so we won't go through the same thing again.
Of course, my name is Joshua.
All right, if I get telling you that you already spoke to me.
Did you notice the customer when he said, "What's your name?" Because I'm gonna call again, and I don't want to put you in the same position. So, did you realize, guys, that this customer is not really mad at you, like Emmanuel mentioned before? He is mad at the customer service in general.
He was venting his anger, but not at you,
Mm-hmm.
but at the customer service overall, or the company. Sometimes they talk or bad mouth the company because of its customer service, because of the on hold time, a lot of reasons.
Perhaps this is questionable, but that's the best way the customer found out in order to call the company's awareness, because nobody there were able to help them. So that's the best way the customer found out in order to call the attention he needed.
Right.
Sure, I'll let you know.
Thank you, bye.
So yeah, he hung up the call. Alright guys, so I hope that you find this reaction video helpful, and we are so pleased to bring this type of content to you. If you guys have any question or wanna add or write down anything, feel free to do it, and we'll be happy to continue reacting to other videos, mostly when it comes to irate customers, right?
That right.
And we really wanted to upload this video for you specifically. A lot of you have been asking about that. Maybe you don't have experience, so please enjoy this video. Have a good one.
See you later.